Hi, this is Kim Pinkney and welcome to my channel. Alrighty, so today I am going to kind of explain how I start an image, and I usually kind of start off with an idea, as we all do. Very few people just jump right on into a daunting page. Some create thumbnails, but I like to gather ideas. So one of the first things I did was for this month, I want to draw this in your styles. At first I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't draw nobody else's characters. But then I was thinking, you know what, this is kind of fun. And then I decided to combine it with the easy pose. And I'm like, okay, all right, let's see what we can do with this. So this is the one I'm going to be working on today. This is by Finley Doodles. Draw this in your own style. But also you want to, and I couldn't find any other images. They didn't have like a separate a link or something like that for this particular image to see if anybody else has got some ideas on how they want to do it. So I went to Finley Doodles' site, and yeah, it's really cute stuff. There he is right there, but I didn't see other people's interpretations of him. So I'm like, okay. And Finley themselves said they were inspired by this person on TikTok, in a TikTok video, and try to use them as a reference. I don't have TikTok, and let me see if I click on it, what happens. Oh, okay, so it's this person. So they created their DIY, or draw this in your own style, from this Cana Caples. I don't know, but I like the green hair and the dark skin. Amateur skater. Now, if I would have known it was a skater, I would have probably thought of this differently. So, knowing like some of the stuff, this is pretty cool. So, knowing some of the stuff gives me ideas on what I can do. And some of the things that I would do is I would look for source images, things of folks that I like. Pinterest is a good start. Google Images is a good start as well. So had I known this was like a skater guy, I probably would have drawn him with a skateboard, which is not too late to do. So let me move this out the way. So what I've got so far, based off of, and my internet went out, so or else I would have been on sooner. So I was thinking I was going to combine him in a musical note, and I'm gonna see if I can find my original inspiration. So I'm like taking my own idea. Let's see if we get to my Instagram, and probably at the very bottom, when I was drawing Korean pop stars, and was making like coloring pages out of them. Sorry, all the scrolling here. But you can find me on Pinkney Kimberly, all one word, on Instagram. And you can see all these images, but the one little video I'm looking for is what inspired this image. Oh God, it's really buried. Let's see. But it was a guy sitting on this clef. There he is, right there. And this is what kind of inspired this particular image, with the guy sitting on this one. And it's just a process video that I never really got to finish. But I basically did the same thing. I came up with a pose for a guy, and was cleaning it up, and then wanted to sit him on like a page of musical notes, and started fleshing him out a little bit. I don't think it can get any bigger than this, but this is like as far as I got, and I'm like, you know what, that'd be kind of cool to throw a guy onto here. So and that's it with that. So had I taken the step a little further and found out it was a skater, I probably would have had him skating on this thing. So basically what I'm doing is trying to get ideas together. So I have my pose, I have what I want him to look like, and then it's all like compiling it all together. And then what I like to do is just go ahead and the original idea that I had for this one was I was just going to make a little guy sitting on this clef. So let me go ahead and, while my internet was out, I'm like, well, I may as well be productive. So this is as far as I had gotten. And I was just about to start to color him in when my internet came back on. And I'm like, oh goody, let me set this up for a live stream. So here we are, and that's as far as I've gotten. So so basically you find your ideas everywhere you can, combine 2 or 3 different ideas together, and you never know what you're going to come up with. And so I'm going to have this with the skater guy, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Well, I think I'll add the skateboard layer. Yeah, I think I'll do that. I'll do that later. Okay, so the next thing I was going to do is just go ahead and start to color and create. Since I know now that it's a skater guy, I could put like graffiti and stuff like that around this clef instead of leaving it kind of blank. Plus, I can make it a little rougher around the edges, or make it look kind of like a skateboard ramp of some sort. Maybe make it extrude a little bit. So let's go ahead and start coloring from the inside out. Another thing that I like to do, instead of just like using the face that's here, I like to go ahead and change it up to something else. So and that also will require another source image. So what I'll do is go onto like Pinterest or whatnot and just kind of search for cute guys or whatever. Or now that we know who this was kind of based off of, I can see if I can find a picture of them. But one of the things I like about Pinterest is that I can try to find a face that's in this position. Like this is kind of in that position. And I'm looking for a face that's kind of in that position. So something like that would be great. And it almost looks like the other guy. And I can see all the features. So now the challenge is not to make it look exactly like this guy, but to like borrow features from this guy. Like how his nose is shaped, the shadows, how and the highlights, how they hit it. How his lips, they're not like all spread out, they're pretty full. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take elements of this guy's face and merge it onto this face and color the whole thing. But I'm not trying to make it look exactly like this guy. It'll be like this guy, but not exactly like this guy, if that makes any sense. It's just borrowing bits and pieces from him. And if anything, like I could change the eyes out with a different type of eye. Like his eyes are still looking up this way. His eyes are looking down at us. So we can keep that shape and just borrow his nose, or, you just change it up the way you want, and that will create a different composition. Okay, so there's that guy, the guy that I had in mind. And I compile my images onto my Google Drive, the slides. So this is also a guy that's somewhat in this position, because you don't want to change the head shape too much, because it may change the shape of what's going on in the picture. So when you create your pose, kind of get your pose in the way that you want your head to be, and then find your source images to help you out with that after that. So with that in mind, let me go ahead and slide my stuff back over so I can see it. But yeah, so that will help you get a really good image. And then you can also borrow how his lighting is, or you can change his lighting, or you can look at another thing that's close to the lighting source that you've got and see if you can kind of merge them together. Okay, enough talking. Okay, so one of the things that I do, delete you, okay, is I want to do the whole coloring all at once, at least the base tone. And we know that he's going to be looking, let's see, similar to this guy here. Let me see if I've got him to add into my drawing guide here. Reference, image, import image. I'm gonna see if I've got him in here at all. I don't think I do. I don't think I saved him. Nope. Okay. All right. I don't have him here to add as a reference. So. And just be very careful of not making it too much bigger. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in on his face. We're not going to see too much of him. Actually, I'm not ready for that yet. I'm going to go ahead and give him this base tone. I'm going to duplicate this bad boy right here. And then I'm going to hit I've got the tone that I want in the far corner here. That's going to be my base tone, that brown color there. So I'm going to hit select. Well, actually, not select. I'm just going to go ahead and I've got select. I'm going to hit color fill because I deselected it to get rid of a background of another image. So I'm going to go to the layer itself, hit select, and because of the fill, color fill down here, it'll fill in the whole thing. So I've got that selected, and then I have two choices. Either I can move this up and then make that into a multiply layer, and I get my brown tone. It'll color everything, but that's no big problem. Or I can, let me put that back to normal. Or I can bring this up to the top and do the same thing. I can make this a multiply layer. Now, it doesn't have to be a multiply layer. You've got different options in Procreate. It could be something like as dramatic as that. Color burn, linear burn, that's darker color and normal. Yeah, screen. Screen will show pretty much what's beneath it. Let's see, we got color dodge. We got add, which makes it like super bright. This is just a lighter color. There's our overlay, and that's like a lighter tone. So depending on what kind of how much light that you want to be shown in there, and then I would combine both layers. It just depends on what you're trying to go for. That's exclusion, that's subtract, divide, hue, saturation, color, and last one is luminosity. So I'm going to probably go with multiply because it just gives them a nice color all the way around. So I'm going to keep multiply, and then I'm going to merge, and then I've got my my dark tone there, and then I'm going to start messing with his face, and then from there I'm going to work with the rest of the body. And the face will give me the tones that I'll be using throughout the rest of the body. So it's almost like creating a palette right here. Okay, so bringing up my guy, I'm going to use the smiling guy. Let's see, I wonder, can I, let me see, let me copy him. I'm going to put him on here so you guys can see me working with him. So I got that. I wonder if it'll let me paste it. Let me see. Oh, I didn't do it right. Okay, hold up. Let's see. Alright, there's our smiling guy. Let me try something. That way I can have it in a reference instead of like off to the side here. Let's see, I've got him. Let me go to a different one here. Let me use this. Okay. I'll just hide that. And let me see if I can just go ahead and save him. It'll be a JPEG. Unfortunately, I have no idea what his name is. or else I'd put that on in here. It just like was the generic picture that I saw on Pinterest. Okay, so I'm going to save that image to my iPad here. Let's go back to our, there we go, there's our dude. Just zoom on in. Because he's so small, we're not going to see a lot of his details. So right now he's kind of fuzzy. Let's see, we're going to use the canvas, reference, and then image, and he should be able to be pulled up now. There we go. Now this reference thing will let you put it off to the side and you can look at it as you're doing it. You could even sample tones if you need to, but I'm not going to sample his tones. We may use some idea of that tone, but I don't think I'm going to sample it. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do, I've already got him into his tones. When you use the images out of the Poser app and whatnot, it comes in kind of fuzzy and jaggedy, and I went through and I softened the edges of the character here. Here's where you can see some of the jaggedness right here, and I just went around with the smudge brush with the soft brush set about on 2. Excuse me, Mr. Reference. Okay, set that to about 2, and just go around the edges, and you can kind of soften the edges. You got to be on his layer though. Be on his layer, and you just kind of soften the edges. Because we're so zoomed in, when you're zoomed out, you won't really see it, but you know it's there. It's like, I don't know. I'm not so comfortable with that. And actually, I want to use that other clef note, the other G clef that we had. So let me go ahead and start this over so you guys can kind of see how I got to this point. So I'm going to go ahead and start a whole new gallery here. Let me copy that. Let me go to this. Now I'm using 8.5 by 11 at 600 DPI. So with that high resolution, I'm going to change my background image or background color to like a light gray, and that'll help me with the white. Okay, so I have that. I'm going to paste my signature back in. Yes, you guys got to know who you are. Let's see, add and paste. There we go. I'm in there, so I'm going to lock that. Add another layer. Now I'm going to go and bring in my files. So I'm going to bring in the dude from, what is it called? From Easy Poser or Easy Pose. Insert file, and the pictures fall into, oh, this is our Pose Pro, so alright. Let me cancel that. Add photo. This goes, your Easy Pose goes into your photos. Let me see, and he's right here. And now you see how the square, the little marching ants are? Let me zoom out a little bit. That means that there's a bit of a background around him. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag him to the edges, and then I'm going to deselect. And what it does is anything that's outside, where you see all these squares and whatnot, anything outside the canvas gets cut off. So you never want to drag anything out there that you don't want to keep. So like if I expand and I'm zooming in to see his face and it's outside, after I've deselected the image, it's gone forever. So now I have him clipped, and there he is right there with very little of that action going on around him. I'm going to fit him to screen. Okay, now even though he is transparent, but there is still like those boundaries around him, I'm going to get rid of that stuff. Now, this morning I just found out how to get rid of like a background, and basically what the guy did is he went to his select. You gotta take your color fill off, and you don't see it, but there's a tolerance level. And if I touch the screen and I drag the threshold, it's going to show me all the stuff that it's going to get rid of, or at least select. And what he did is another guy, he basically said do a 3-finger sweep down, and then you can cut that background out. So everything that was selected there is gone, and I have to do it again. Hit that automatic select. I'm going to do another 3-finger sweep and then cut. Gone. Okay. So now when I have to do anything around this guy, there won't be anything there. There's that. We'll do a 3-finger sweep down and then cut. Goes away, and he should be nice and cleaned up, at least around his outside. And that works really well with solid colors. Alright, so now that we've got him cleaned up, we're going to go around and we're going to soften him. Only the areas that are going to be exposed. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to throw, what is it called? That turtleneck and some pants on him. So I don't have to really soften anything but his face and his hands. And we'd always come to that later, or we can do that now. And I'm going to do that real quick with the soft brush. And I'm just going around the edges and just kind of softening up those edges here. I'm just staying like really close to the outside, and I'm going inward here. So anywhere where it looks like it's really fuzzy and janky looking, like you can see it right here on his bicep, and I'm just going around and just kind of softening it. It's like I'm on the very edge, and I'm just kind of got my brush going around. Now we are so zoomed in that you're not going to notice the softness or the fuzziness that we're creating, but it is smoothing it out just a bit. We don't really have to worry about his forehead area. Okay. And we really don't need to worry about his shoulders, but just for this demonstration, I'm just going ahead and do that. And it works on the inside as well as the outside. Okay. But a lot of this is going to be covered up with stuff. Now, Easy Pose isn't perfect, and you know, people don't have like pointy parts on their body, not like that, so I'm just kind of smoothing that out too. Right here on his arm, it's going to be covered up by a shirt, but still got that covered up. Now part of the thing, or the trick with the draw it in your own style, is you still have to make sure that it's reminiscent of you know, what the image is. Okay, so we got him. Now I'm going to bring in that G-clef. I had found that online. I'm like, ooh, I like that. I don't know if it'll fit, but you know what? Let's work on his face first, because right here is where it's the clearest and the cleanest. Not that it matters. I could take like a smudge brush and just get rid of everything, but we're not going to do that. Okay, so like I did before, I'm going to duplicate this layer, because if you merge your layer with the image thing that, you know, like the G-clef that I was going to bring in, it'll turn brown too. So then I have extra work to clean that up. So let's work on the body first, and then we'll add the accessories later. We're going to select his layer. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, this one should be fine. We select his layer. Oh, he's not going to turn brown until I turn this on. There we go. That fill. And then we'll deselect it. And then we will change that to, let's see. Ooh, that's really dramatic. So linear burn, color burn. It's a nice dark brown. But I don't think he's that brown in the picture. So we'll just do him at that neutral multiply layer. Okay, so we got that brown going on. And so we got that going on. Let's go ahead and start with his eyes. We're going to bring that photo in. Let's see, canvas, and it can be found under canvas, reference, and then we go to image, import image, smiling guy. Okay. Now, you guys may have your own way of doing things, and that's cool. This is not the end-all, be-all of how to do stuff. But this is just one way that I like to do things. I'm going to make a new layer, and a lot of things I'm going to do is going to be working from a whole nother layer and then merging it down as I go. Let's see. Let's go ahead and start with... we'll start with the eyes. Okay, you want to work from the inside out. That way you can make like an eyeball layer. You can make a, let's see, and then the whites of the eye layer, and still kind of use what's in here. So we're going to start with the eyeball. Whoops. You can either use the freehand tool. Well, I want that still on. Do that. Go to the freehand tool. I apologize. I had Mr. References in the way. Automatic still selected, and it just automatically selects everything. And if I had the fill done, the fill will fill everything in. That'll all come into play in a little bit. So right now I'm just going to go ahead and create an eyeball layer. I can't remember exactly the color of the eyes because there was some glasses on. So I'm going to use like a lighter tone for now. I'm going to use blue. Just go ahead and add. Now you also have a choice. You can either create, let's see, let's do this. Let me clear these. And we can use the circle. Let's see. There we go. And then we'll come back to freehand. Okay. Now the circle should be on its own layer. So I should be able to go ahead and put that here. And then I can duplicate it. And just kind of drag it onto the next side. Let's see. About like right there is cool. So he's going to be kind of looking upwards like that. So we'll just kind of have it up a little bit. Same with the other one. We'll just kind of have it up just a little bit. I know that the black part of the eye, let me get my brush, got that there, have it down to like maybe 1 or 2. It's going to be like in the center. got to be on his layer. Just trying to roughly make it about the same. Let's see. I think I like this eyeball better. Yeah, I do. Make my eraser a little smaller. Yeah, I'll keep that eye. So I'll delete this one and keep this one and just duplicate that one. Slide that on over. Now they're both on two different layers. Okay, so now that I've got those guys together, I'm going to kind of merge them together so they're on the same layer. And then on a different layer, I'm going to create the white of the eye. Now the white of the eye is not going to be like pure white. Probably have it be like in the grayish tone, like how it is right here. Let's see. We'll put it beneath this one. Now, when we know, and this is just with my soft brush, I've just added this. I'd rather add it with it's a little crisper when you use the selection tool. Now, looking at the guy who's smiling, whoops, let me hit add. Looking at the guy who's smiling, his eyes are kind of closing up a little bit when he smiles, so we'll do that so we can make our guy look like his eyes are closing up just a bit. So I'm going to do that by switching to black. And in Procreate, you've got under touch-ups, you have like razor stubble, which will help us with his, well, the other guy doesn't have any stubble. But this is where you would find your hair, your fine hair, your short hair, flowing hair. I ended up moving it to my outline layer here. So I'm going to use the fine hair brush. And I'm going to kind of simulate eyelashes. I'm going to put them on their own layer. That way if I mess up, it doesn't affect the layer that I'm trying to cover up. So I'm going to bring it down. Now the hair, if you're doing hair, it works best when it's like big. But if you're doing just like eyelashes and stuff, you want to stay as small as possible. This should be like on 1 or 2. I'm going to bring it down to 1. Because, or let's see, there's 2. Bring it up to 3. Let me see where I am. So between 3 and 4. Now I wanted that eyelashes, it's on the wrong layer after all. Let me get rid of that. I want it above, that way I can erase anything below it. So we're gonna do this sort of thing. But keep in mind that when you're looking up, your eye shapes change a bit. And it's on a round curve, and I'll adjust the eyeballs accordingly. So I'm doing, whoops, there we go. All right. For a guy, I'm not gonna like go crazy with eyelashes like I would with a woman. I can make him a little bit, you know, more feminine, but I'm not going to go too crazy with that. All right. So now with the eyeballs, now I know where my boundaries are. Hold on for a second. Among the digital music, they have ambiance and sounds. This right here is Embraced by Brown Noise. Oh goody. This is what we all need, brown noise in our life. Okay, because the eyes are looking up and to the side, they're more kind of rounded and narrowed. So see if I can make that make sense. How do I do this? Okay, so I'm going to take one eye at a time, one eyeball at a time. Whoops, didn't want to do that. I'm going to select it. Just to select it, I'm going to hit the arrow key, and I'm going to kind of distort it just a smidge. And just, it'll kind of give it that side shape like that. So he looks like he's looking up. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to select this eye, hit distort, and just kind of take it at a corner and just kind of bend it and move it up just a bit so he looks like he's looking that way. There we go. And then I'm going to erase. I'll bring it down low so I don't erase too much. There we go. And I can also erase using the selection tool if I wanted to. Let's see. And I'm going to add maybe just a little bit more black around his eye. This little fine hair brush is also really good for like if you want to do like little lines inside the eyes. So let me get on there. We're on that line. Make it a little bigger. But this brush works really well when it's bigger. So like if you want to do the rods and the cones, of course this is going to be like so small you won't really see it. Okay, there we go. Now he doesn't have much going on around the bottom of his eyes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a tone that's already on this guy's skin, and then I'm going to make it a little bit brighter. I'm going to get out of this disc here. Bring it back to this. There we go. Where I was harmony. So like if you ever want to know what goes with what, in Procreate you can hit harmony, and you've got the 3 colors split complementary. All these colors would go great together. You got analogous, where they kind of follow each other on the color wheel. Those all look good together. Triadic, tetradic, which is 4, and all 4 of these colors look great together. And then opposite each other on the color wheel, etc. Okay, but right now all we need is like the lighter version of this. So what I'm going to do is just kind of select underneath his eye, and then just go light. I don't want to go pure white. I want to just kind of get the lighter version. And then I'm going to switch my brush to a soft brush. Now you can use whatever brush that tickles your fancy. A lot of people like to use like those artistic brushes where it's like square and whatever. Some of them, I don't know. I like the soft brush. And this is can be found in the airbrush area. I'm going to keep it small. Now, if you have a hard time controlling your color, like say that came out way too bright for you, bring your opacity down. Keep it like in the center, and then bring that color in, and then you can just kind of, the more you tap, the brighter it'll get. And what we're trying to do is we want to keep his eyes round looking. So he'll have like a little bit of bright tone here, and he's got eyelashes there. So let's throw some eyelashes in. They're very tiny. Use the fine hairbrush. We'll kind of keep it small. And we'll just kind of have them peeping over the sides here. You can barely see them. Let me put the other color in first. And again, like this little area around his eye here is catching some light. All right. And then we'll catch a little bit more. We'll just raise our soft brush up a little bit. Just kind of give it a little bit of light there. We'll use some of his lighting here. So we'll take a little bit there. We'll throw that on the cheek. I'm going to speed it up just a little bit. It's like wherever you see the light hitting it. He's got a big smile, so let's do this. We're going to combine the eyes together. It's like that. And the cheekbones, that's fine. Just go ahead and throw those lights in there. We're all still working on this top layer. This is what the original layer looks like, and eventually we'll merge everything down to the original layer, because you'll want your colors to kind of blend and merge a little bit. Now, we want to bring his smile out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take wherever I see the light, and I'm going to keep bringing it in. His smile is almost as wide as the face here, but I'm also looking at the distance between the bottom of the nose and where the top of the lips are going to be. Now, usually around the top of the lips, let's see, there's a little bit of light. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that in there. And it even gets a little bit brighter than the thing that I've selected. So I'm going to hit that right there. Then will be the color of his lips, and then where his teeth are. Now, to do the teeth, they do look pretty bright. I'm going to go a little bit white on that because his teeth are just out there and they're jutting. And I'm going to use my, let's see, I have two choices. I can either use my selection tool and just kind of come around. I'm going to cut into his lips a little bit and just kind of get that shape of where his teeth are going to be. I can do it like that and then just fill it. And then I can add each individual tooth. Another thing I can do, let me back it up a little bit. And that's what I would usually do. I could take my soft brush again and then kind of do the same thing, only manually. And I'm using the color of the teeth as my guide. And just kind of look at the shape that it's creating. Not the teeth that, you know, the overall teeth. Not each individual tooth, but altogether that shape that is being created. I'm going to bring my opacity back up so we can really see that white. And I'm just filling it in. And there's like a little gap between the teeth and the top teeth and the bottom teeth. So I'm going to do like a little shading of where the bottom teeth are. I'm going to kind of leave a little bit of a gap so they don't really touch. All right, and then that's where the lips will be. So I need a tone for the lips. I'm thinking I want to go, looking at him, one of the lighter parts of his face, he's got like a reddish tone going on in his skin. I'm going to use this corner here And I'm going to make that the color of his lips. And I'm just going to go ahead and I can put it on its own layer. It's not going to hurt anything. And then I'll take a lighter tone of this, or white, one or the other. A lighter tone of the color I'm using. So about, and we want it pretty bright. And then we'll just kind of bring in the highlights of where you see it on his lips here. Because he's a person of color, I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit of pink for his lips. Let's see. We'll do like there. And then put that here. Maybe even get a little redder with it. And then come back to like a darker tone. Let's see, we'll come down to about that tone for the shadows here. And it doesn't hurt to have two facial references. So like one where you've got the ideal skin, and then one where you have the ideal face shape type of thing. I'm going to use a little bit of that color below, up here at the top. And at the corners, I'll go ahead and get a little darker. Let's go ahead and grab that black there. There we go, and just kind of get a little bit of that color in there. I'm going to lighten my black a little bit by coming down with my brush opacity. And I'm just going to come around between the lips and that highlight. Alright, and then I'm going to use, let's see, what's in his skin? Like maybe one of these colors here that's close to the light. I'm going to use that to get that laugh line in there. Let me go ahead and merge these guys. Let's see, we'll use one of the darker tones here for this side. Now you don't want them to look like they're old, so you want to kind of go thin with the shadow, and you want to kind of blend, because we want it to look like laugh lines. We don't want them to look like they're old or ancient or anything like that. And if you're ever in doubt, you can just go ahead and use the source that you've got. You know, if you can, find your source that's as close to the skin tone that you want. So like right here is a medium skin tone. Let me see if I've got somebody who's got a really nice skin tone. Let's see. That's closest to what I'm looking for. Let's see. Let's see. Which skin tone do I want to emulate? This is beautiful, but it's a little too far off from the original image. He's not too far off. Let's see, this one's a nice compromise. This one might be perfect. Okay, so that kind of skin tone. So we kind of see what I'm trying to aim for. He's got more of a yellowish tone in his skin. Yeah. So I'm going to see if I can use a little bit of this guy. I don't think I can grab him. Yeah, it sucks with the iPad when it comes to this. So let me see. We'll split my screen a little bit. Okay, so we have the guy we're modeling after. And let's see if I can make him a little smaller. Well, let me move this over. I only need to see the tones that I'm going to be working with. Okay, there we go. And we're going to lighten him up a little bit. So we're going to use like the yellower tones. Somewhere, we'll say about there. It's not too bad. And we're still down here. In order to get that kind of effect, let's go ahead and bring this down right between the face and the eyes and whatnot. And we'll make our brush a little bit bigger. And I'm going to do a clipping mask so it won't go outside what's already there beneath it. Oh, good Lord. This is the Brace by Brown noise. Okay, next. All right. So I'm tapping it in and bringing his skin up a little bit, lightening it up a little bit, bringing in, and I'm trying to get as close to that as I can. Now he's got like some highlights here in his eyebrows, and I love both of their eyebrows. It's kind of hard to decide which one I like more. Anyway, my lips are a little bright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of compromise between the two here. We don't want him to look like he's wearing lipstick, so let's go ahead and sample that pink, because we do want a pink, but not that pink. That's pretty damn pink. We want to go ahead and get kind of grayish to muted, and we might even have to go a little bit redder. Or you could cheat and like sample from off of the picture itself. I don't want to do that. Let's see, I want that gray pink. So like that, but a little grayer. Pink, but not pink. And I'm just going to go ahead and paint over that. I'm on the right layer. Got my brush. Got to bring it down some. Bring the opacity up a little bit. And just kind of paint over. But I still want to keep the same thing going on here. So we've got the grayer pink, and then I want a darker version of that grayer pink. And we're going to go into like the brown of that. So it looks more like skin. And then because, oh God, dandruff. Where'd he go? I was trying to zoom in so that we could see the little lines in his... Let me see. I'm going to save him. Oh, I've already got him saved. Oh, okay. Never mind. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. Zoom, damn you! It won't let me. Okay. I'm going to take some white and do... You see how he's got the little lines in his lips? I guess you can't. I'm going to use that. I'll bring my brush down really super small. I'm going to use like a combination of both their lips. So because he's smiling, you won't see the cracks very well, but we'll put a few in there just for giggles. And then same thing with the top of the lips. He's got darker lips. They're like this gray, but with a little brown tinge to it. So like maybe close to that. And even if you create a color and it's not quite right, if you can, put it on a different layer. That way, if you mess it up, you're not hurting anything. Or if you need to go bright or darker, like I'm going to go a little bit darker right here between what I've already got there is, yeah, it's like right between that purplish color or mauve color. Just going around his lips. And then I'm going to put like that highlight. I'm going to use this pink as a highlight. So like right here will take the place of what's there. All right. Okay, so let's get some of that overall color like he's got. I'm going to take some color like right here. I'm going to go ahead and merge. Now keep in mind that because this guy is so small, you're not going to see a lot of detail. So you don't have to go like balls out with doing detail. Let's see. I'm going to put it up. Nah, I guess I can work on this layer. If I'm ever thinking I'm going to have to go backwards or anything like that, it doesn't hurt to start another layer, work from that, and when you're happy, merge it down. Or if you need to bring your colors together. So I'm going to work on the nose area, and I'm going to bring in where the midtones, the other midtones would be, like a highlighter midtone. I don't know if that makes any sense. It's not white, it's like in between tones. I'm going to use his nose because it's smiling. And I'm going to have to go soon, but we'll pick it up right where we leave off. I'm going to see if I can get as much of the face done as possible. Okay, and we're going to use another highlight color, so I'm going to grab from the cheeks here, and just kind of, wherever I see the light hitting is where I'm going to put his highlights. And I'll bring it up high. They don't have to be perfect, because we're going to be doing some smudging. We're going to add more colors. I'm going to sample again that tone. And just trying to get the bridge of the nose here. So it's going to be brighter on this side of the face. So don't try to take colors from this side of the face to do this. So any colors that you're going to stay in, that are going to stay in the light, just keep them in the light here. We'll keep sampling from the lighted area, and then we're just going to kind of add them in there. Let's see, his overall tone, we're going to give him like a, let's see, we'll give him like a pinker, yellow to pink to orange tone. Let's see. Yeah, we can stay about right here. Okay. And I'm going to bring the opacity down, so we'll have to build it up. We'll do this. Now what kind of sucks is that this guy wears glasses, so some of this stuff is going to be obscured anyway. For the cheekbones, we're going to grab a little bit of that color and bring it down here. Anywhere where you see that color on the face is where you're going to go ahead and add it. So just go ahead and wherever you see like this tone here, if you see that anywhere else, add it on the face. Like he's got it right here on his nose. He's got a little bit of it right here. So it's almost like if this was blue, you take that blue and you put it everywhere you see that tone. So I'm going to go ahead and add those. Let's see, his nostrils are a little bit wide, so we're going to bring that down a little bit. Let's see, we'll grab the tone that's already there. and we'll just kind of expand it a little bit. I have to bring my opacity up a little bit so we can see it better. Bring that up a little bit. And his nostril comes around, wraps around a little bit. Just kind of thin that up a little bit. Bring this down a little bit so we can control it a little bit better. And then the tone that's there, I'm going to take it for the nostril, and I'm going to make it just a little darker, a little thinner, and bring the opacity back up, because that's going to be the tone here. One of the things to keep in mind is that when you're doing the nose, this is a hole in the head, and like imagine a cave, you know. To keep them from looking like a pig, like a little pig nostril, you don't want to just color it all in dark. There are tones around the nose. So it goes like there's that dark tone, and then it starts to lighten up as you come out of the cave, like the happy booger. Around the edges of the nose, it's dark, but it's going to be a soft dark. So I'm going to soften that up a little bit, and I'll bring down my opacity so it's going to be, it'll still stay soft. The more I tap it, the darker it'll get. Because this is the lighter side of the face, the edges around the nostril aren't going to be as dark as this. So a lot of the things that you'll be doing is making judgment calls. How dark do I go? So I'm using the same color, but I'm not applying it as heavily as I am on this side. So I'm like putting it nice and generously on this side, but I put it really light on this side. And then right here where the ball of the nose comes out, I'm gonna probably use like a lighter tone like that, but make it just a little darker. And just kind of make that little curve, but keep it soft so it doesn't look like a line, because what you're doing is you're creating tones, you're not creating lines. Now there's a highlight near the edge of the cave here. That's what I'm going to call the nostril here. So I'm going to take the light from here and just kind of apply it right here. So you're like really studying where your lights are and apply them where you see them, and that's how you make that illusion of your nose popping out, you know, like it's coming forward. Study your highlights and stuff where you see the subtle changes in color. Like there is a change in color right here underneath the nose. And then right here on the edge, it's like super subtle. But if you really look, you'll see it. And then you look at how some things are brighter than others. The highlight at the tip of his nose, this one right here, is way brighter than the one that's over here on his nostril right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to soften. I'm using the smudge brush. I'm going to soften that, maybe make it a little softer there, and I'm going to just kind of smudge it to kind of work it on in. Now if you're finding that you're trying to smudge it and work it in and it's not doing anything, go ahead and merge your layer down, and then you'll start to see your movement of tone. Now around this little highlight right here that I had created, I'm going to put it back on here, make it darker or brighter. It gets lighter. It brings out a lighter tone of the skin. So I'm going to use that lighter tone, and I'm going to bring that close to the nose here. We'll get an even brighter tone like about that color. And we'll bring it close to, it's still coming out a little dark. Let's see, get like right here, close to this tone here. Oh, let's see, we got our soft brush. We're up high. Maybe we need to get a little brighter. And then I'm going to smudge both of those two tones together. I'm going to bring it around the side a little bit. Maybe even make it a little brighter around the edge here. Bright here. A little bright here. It's going to be bright here. It'll be brighter coming down this way. Just wherever you see where the brightness is coming from. And then I'm going to smudge from the white to that color. And that's going to change the pixels around. It looks like I've obliterated that tone. So what I'm doing is I'm pretty much merging those two colors together. That brown here in the highlight. If you lose it, just add it again. Just smudge gently, and by smudging gently I mean bring your brush down, your opacity down a little bit, so it'll move the tone but not like obliterate it. And what you'll get is you'll get a lighter version of the tone that you put down. And I'm kind of like doing it in a circle. And we'll bring a little bit more of that brighter tone in. I hate when my iPad does that. It like gets dark for some reason. Then it'll all of a sudden lighten up like, so what's up? And if you can't seem to get the gradient, try to get in between the two tones and then merge those guys together by going into each other. So from the dark to the light, you tap from dark to light and then the light to the dark, and it usually blends these guys together. Okay, and I don't think we need this. Let's see, let me zoom out. And you kind of see the effect that his nose now is sticking out a lot more. Okay, make sure we're on the right layer. Take a little bit of some of his lighter tones. Now the nose is definitely a lot lighter than the rest of his face. Let's see. Let me zoom out. Zoom out. And so you can kind of see the effect even where we are right now. Okay, so that's kind of what I would do from the nose on. And I just kind of blend it a little bit more. Bring that highlight back again. Bring some tones in there, so we got a little bit of tone here. Bring that down here. Bring it kind of around the edges. And if you need to, bring your opacity down so you just kind of build up that tone instead of it like just overwhelming. Let's see. I want this side of his face to be a little bit lighter. Let's see. So I'll use, let's see, I'm looking for any colors that are around his face that are lighter. Bring this up. My iPad is not doing me any favors. There we go. Sometimes you'll have to go on to another layer to do your dirty work. Also keep in mind that when you're, let's see, let me merge these two together. There we go. We shouldn't have too many problems now. I was on a multiply layer, so it kind of changes things too. So there we go. Alright, so like to do the eyebrows, I'm going to, oh, before I do all that, let me go ahead and soften these guys together so it doesn't look like patchwork. Merge these guys together. Yeah, if your images and all the tones that you're putting down, they all look like they don't belong or they're patchy, you can use your smudge tool, and then you can bring the opacity down to gently move those colors around. If you need to really be aggressive with it, bring that opacity back up for your smudge, and then you can really get those colors to move. See, there's a little bit of light here. I'm going to bring those tones down a little bit more on his nose, and then come outwards more. We'll keep a little bit of bag tone there. But basically that's how I would do a face, is just look at your tones, find a nice source image that's in the same position or close to what you've got. And, you know, so you can accurately map your skin. The other technique that you have is, remember the ball method where you've got, let's see if I can get into gray tones here. Let's see, I don't have a ball to look at, but you have like the white part and it's dark. Let's see, you can kind of see it with the nose, but let's see if we can do it on the cheek here. It's bright right here, and then it starts to get darker until it gets to its darkest part. So let's see, his darkest tone, I'm going to use like a dark brown, and then I'm going to bring the opacity down because I'm going to build it up. And say we're going to keep his cheekbone like that, and we're going to kind of really add that in here. So you got your highlight here. And just kind of think of this whole thing as like a sphere, like that. You'll have a lot of those on your face, on your head. Let me see if I can map out some of the spheres that you have here that are common. Let's see. The nose, the tip of the nose, think of it as a round ball. Usually on the chin, there's another round ball. Right here on the cheek is usually a round ball. So to use that technique where you have the light tone, and as you move further away from that light, it starts to get darker and darker, and then eventually it lightens up again. And you're kind of seeing that here on his cheek. In his light portion, oh, that was cute. I didn't know if you double tap it, it'll go back. I'll just have to emulate it. We'll say that light portion is where the light hits it the hardest, and then I'm going to have to get going. Shoot, get out of that. Brush. Okay, light hits it the hardest, and as you're getting away, it starts to get a little bit lighter. So I'm going to grab a little bit of this lighter tone, and we should have our soft brush still selected. I'm going to go ahead and lighten that up in that area, and then as I'm moving further away, it's also a little bit redder too, so we'll throw a little bit of redness in his skin, just a little. With darker tone people, you can go even purple, depending on how dark they are. And I'm going to go a little bit lighter up here. Okay, so we've got that gradient type of thing going on. We've got our brightest color here. And then as we move away from that, it gets a little darker. Use a little bit of that tone. A little darker, and then it starts to lighten up, but not as light as where the light hits it the hardest. And one of the things I always say is that wherever you have a shadow, there will always be a corresponding bright to go along with it. So we'll talk more about that in the next video, and we'll be finishing him up. And I'm just whitening up his teeth just a little bit more. Let's see. And even though, let me back it up a little bit. I'm going to put a little bit of light in his eye too. Just a little. Even though we probably won't see it very much with his glasses on, we still kind of add that in there. And I like to do a little white catching some of the white of the eye here. And depending on the angle, sometimes you can see the pink tear duct, but not in this case. And we'll work on the hair and some more of the highlights, fine tuning. We'll throw some clothes on this man and we'll get it together. I'll see you guys in the next video. And for those who are just joining, I'll go ahead and do a time-lapse replay so you can kind of see what you just walked out of or walked into or whatnot. But let me move him out the way. And you guys, if you'd like to see more, please like and subscribe, and suggest. I'm going to be doing all the characters that we created in the easy pose, and the ones that you've seen on the DIYs, or draw this in your own style. I don't know what I want to say, DIY. And basically we're adding tones without adding lines. So it kind of gives it more of a fun, realistic look to a certain extent. And we did nothing but really work on the face here. So I'll just keep it kind of blown up a bit. We worked on the nose. Yeah, if you give yourself permission to use your source material and not try to, get exactly like the source material, you'll probably like your results. More than likely. Now, my big fat fingers. Let's see if I can erase that without harming anything. Let's see what layer it's on. Let's see. I got this little streak here. Okay. I don't know where it is. Okay, it's on this layer. Yeah. Okay, no worries. One of the things I do to get rid of it is just basically blend it in with the smudge tool with whatever's here. But luckily we'll have a jacket for him to wear, and we'll put some detail in the ears and stuff like that. Alright, you guys, that's where we are so far of merging everything together. And you see, when we zoom out, you really can't see all those details that we put in, but the effect when you zoom out is a lot more striking. Alright, you guys, I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.